I played Cyberpunk 2077 2 years later after its terrible launch to see if the game was any better or if it was still a buggy mess. I made a video like this last year, and let's just say it got a lot of mixed results, to say the least. A lot of the criticisms and complaints I got were that I actually didn't play the story enough. I didn't understand the story. I just didn't play the game enough, apparently. So I spent a lot of extra time, actually over 20 plus hours, putting all my time into the story, into the world, and just seeing if any of my opinions are going to change. And let me tell you, some of my opinions actually did change. But the way we're going to do this video is we're going to do it organized by categories. Category 1 is going to be the world itself. Category 2 is going to be a comparison from now to 2 years ago. Category 3 is going to be the gameplay, and category 4 is going to be my opinion on the story. So without further ado, let's get into the meat of the video. Now, as far as the world goes, the game is absolutely beautiful. The immersion and aesthetic... aesthetic, good lord. Why did I just say that? The immersive world this game puts you in is breathtaking. From the city to the outer banks of the city, everything just looks amazing. The amount of citizens and AI that are walking around really puts you in that mood of being in a popular and dense city. And I think that's something that a lot of open world RPG games lack, is the amount of AI that gets you immersed into a community slash city type feel. I would say, honestly, my favorite part about this game is the city and how amazing it looks. Now, while it is amazing and it is my favorite part, there is still some downfalls to it. For example, in some parts of the city, I don't know if it's just the area that it's in, but it's completely empty. There's nobody there, no cars, no people. It's just empty. And some, but not all, areas in the city lack that sense of population that other areas in the city thrive in. But that complaint really isn't that large. I mean, to be honest, the areas that were less populated, I didn't stay in for very long, or I just drove away, and it was in an area where I had like one mission. But as far as the city and the world is, I have to give that a 9 out of 10. It's so good. It's unlike a lot of games we've ever seen. And so I hope a lot of games see this and they start implementing the same designs that Cyberpunk had into their own worlds. The next category we have is the comparison of the game now to what it was at launch 2 years ago. This category is going to be talking about the bugs, the glitches, everything that was wrong with the game essentially when it came out. Because as we all know, this game did not come out perfect. So let me go ahead and get this out of the way and say the game is better than it was 2 years ago, 100%. I feel like the place the game is at now is where the game should have been at when it launched. The game feels better, it runs smoother, there's not as many glitches. There is still glitches. There's also not as many bugs. There are still bugs. But the amount of content and the dedication that the team at Cyberpunk has put into this game since launch to redeem its qualities is mind-blowing. It's such a better game, and you can tell they want it to be a better game as well. They've recently announced they're doing their first ever DLC for the game, and I think it's great. I think it's finally time for them to add oh god, I burp in every video. I think it's about that time for them to start adding DLC. Now, while I'm giving this game praise for being so much better than it was 2 years ago, don't get me wrong, there are still a lot of bugs and glitches. And all the bugs and glitches are so random. They don't even make sense. I don't even know how they happen. For example, my entire playthrough that I did for this recording, my map was up the entire playthrough and I could not fix it. I tried to repair the game, I tried to close the game and open it up again, I tried to do a mission to try and fix it, nothing fixed it. And the map is literally broken. I can't see anything on it. Sometimes the cutscenes that are in the game where you can look around and stuff are super buggy and glitched out as well. Another example is I finished a race and my car was automatically coming to a stop, but the other cars around me did not stop. So my car hit the barrier at the end and then flew 100 feet in the air and landed in the water. The game then wanted me to go back to where I finished the race. Then I had to go back to the water because the girl that was in the car with me didn't get out the car, and then it wouldn't let me swim underwater. So it was just a big mess and I don't know what happened. I had to restart the game and just do the whole race again. The thing that sucks about a lot of these glitches and bugs is they really take you out of the game and they take away from the experience that you're about to get. Like, I was trying to do this boss fight in a mall and I got glitched in a stone pillar and the dude just sat right in front of me, so I just had my katana out and just whack, 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 like for like 3 minutes straight. So I never really even got to experience that boss fight, even though I could have obviously just saved and then loaded in earlier and just done it again. I didn't really want to do that. If I can cheese it, I'm gonna cheese it, okay? But like I said earlier, if this game came out like this instead of what it was 2 years ago, I think it would be a lot more acceptable than what it was. 2 years ago, the game was fiddled with non-stop bugs and glitches. Like you couldn't get away from them. As far as the comparison of the game 2 years ago to now, I gotta give it a 6.5 out of 10. It is still immensely better than what it was 2 years ago, but there's still so many bugs and glitches that happen that don't make sense. I don't know why it happens, and a lot of them literally break your game. Category 3. We are talking about the gameplay of Cyberpunk. Now, this is going to include gunplay. This is going to include driving. This is going to include talking to civilians. It's going to include any type of thing you do in the game. Now, as far as the guns are in the game, I think that the guns are okay. I felt myself in a lot of gunfights and just left unsatisfied. I felt like I was just shooting nothing. You know, there wasn't like a satisfying feel to it. Maybe there's not supposed to be a satisfying feel to killing people, but I don't know. It just felt like it was missing something, and I can't tell you exactly what that thing is. The gunplay just felt a little empty. It just felt like there was one piece of it missing that would have made it better. Now, there are two things about the gameplay that I really like, probably my favorite out of all of them, and that is the stealth and the melee combat. Now, when I first reviewed this video, I actually really hated the stealth. I didn't even try to play stealthily. I didn't think you could even do it stealthily. But as I started figuring out about the quick hacks and figuring out how to get around enemies, stealth became a lot more viable option for me in all my playthrough. I am a guy that loves stealth gameplay. Dishonored 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. So obviously, if there's a stealth option, I'm gonna take it. The other thing I loved was the melee combat. I absolutely loved just having a katana and just whack, 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 like every single person in a gunfight. It was so awesome. And then going in slow-mo and then slicing some dude's head off is oh, so satisfying. It's so good. The melee combat is where it's at. You have all types of different weapons that you can use for melee combat, and they're all so different from each other, but they're all kind of the same. I don't know. I love them all. They're so good. Now, another part of the gameplay that actually I want to say it drastically changed from launch, and I'm pretty sure it did, is the driving. The driving felt way better than it did at launch. I played this playthrough on keyboard and mouse, like I have all the other ones. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm very positive that the driving felt way better than it used to. Another part of the gameplay that I never really touched upon in my first playthrough was the quick hacks and all of the hacking things that you could do. Obviously, that is a very big part of the game, and I probably sound stupid saying that I didn't do that a lot in my first playthrough, but I really tried to focus more on the cyberware and the hacking in this playthrough, and it made the game so much better. I was in the middle of a fight, you know, shooting a gun, and then I look over to my left and disable this dude's optics, and I look over to my right and I enable a turret. There's just so much going on, and it just makes the game a lot more fluid. It makes the game more high stakes. It's just a lot more intriguing. But overall, I think the gameplay is a big part of Cyberpunk. I think this is the glue that holds this game together. I have to give the gameplay a 9 out of 10. The only reason it's missing that point is I think the gunplay is a little, it's missing that one little thing. Now, this is going to be the most hot topic of the video. This is the one that I got the most flack on from my first video. Every single person in my comments was saying, you didn't even play the story. The story's the best part of the game, and you're saying it's the worst? Now, the big part of this game and this playthrough is I really wanted to focus on the story and the side quests. Mainly the story itself, but I also did a lot of side quests. In my first video, I talk about how I skipped a lot of the dialogue. It was just boring to sit there and wait, and I just didn't want to hear them mindlessly talk to me about nothing. This playthrough, I decided to listen to every single line of dialogue just so I could have a good opinion or a better opinion than I did have earlier. And my opinion is this: it's still so confusing. The story is everywhere. I don't know what's going on. I understand that the story comes to a T, but in the middle of the story, it's just like, what is going on? I'm going to this guy, going to get this thing. I've got to go to this guy to go hack this thing. I got to go to this thing. It's just so much happening at the same time. It's like watching a movie and there's 8 different storylines going on at the same time, but they're all poorly explained until the very end. The characters to me just don't have a lot of personality to them. The only guy that really did was Jackie, and spoilers, he dies in the first 2 hours of you playing the game. 90% of the characters you meet and talk to have the personality of the wooden plank from Ed, Edd, and Eddy. It's not even that the story is boring itself. It's just so hard to keep up with. So many different things happening at the same time, so many missions happening at the same time, while you're also doing side quests at the same time. So it's very easy to forget what you're trying to do, or what the next mission is, or what the overall goal of the game is. Now, obviously, there is a very broad mission that you have to do. You know, get Johnny out of your head or figure out what to do with him. But everything in between is just blurred lines. I don't remember anything else. All I know is Johnny Silverhand is stuck in your head, and that's it. So before you go in my comments and start saying, oh, you didn't play the game right, you didn't even listen to the story. Yes, I did. I listened to the story very specifically because I knew that everyone was gonna reply saying that. And I have to say, the main story was not it. I give the story a solid 5 out of 10. Overall, Cyberpunk has made such a great comeback from what it was, and I really hope they keep doing more and more of these updates, improving the game and letting us see more and more of what they have to offer. I know the modding community has a very large presence in Cyberpunk 2077, and unfortunately I didn't do any of the mods yet, but I plan to. I think the mods look like they made the game way better, and hopefully the new DLC that comes out is also really good. I'm kind of excited to try that. But my final statement is that the game is way better than it was when it launched. The state of the game as it is right now, I would say, is a very playable and enjoyable game. If you still are stuck on, oh, it's buggy, it's bad, I promise you, it's a different game. You should try it. You would actually really like it. Thank you guys for watching my video. I really appreciate it. If you disagree or agree with me, let me know. I'm sorry if I hurt anyone's feelings by saying the story was bad. Check out some of my other videos. I do a lot of reviews and video essays, and we are almost at 1,000 subscribers. Oh my gosh, stereotypical subscriber plug moment. Wow, yes, this is that moment right here. I am plugging my subscribers. Please subscribe. I want to hit 1,000 really bad, and I will give you a big old kiss on the cheek. Mwah. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!